Okay, let's unpack this deep dive. Today, we're really zeroing in on the world of Instagram growth services.
Yeah, it's a busy space. Lots of claims flying around.
Definitely. But we've got a stack of source material focusing on one specific service, Ascend Viral, and crucially, what actual users are saying.
That's right. Our sources are mostly real customer reviews, leaning heavily on Trustpilot feedback.
Okay.
And this is a service that says it's all about ethical, organic growth. Not the automated stuff.
Right. Organic. That's the key claim.
And they had a 4.5 out of 5 on Trustpilot when these sources were compiled, based on 234 reviews, which is pretty solid.
A 4.5. Yeah, that's definitely worth noting in this market. So our mission here is to slice through those reviews, the good, the mixed, maybe even the tough ones, to really get at the core experience. What did people actually see?
Exactly. What were the highlights? Where did things maybe not quite line up with expectations? We're pulling it straight from their words.
Okay, so user experiences, pricing mentions, customer support. Well, that all sounds right.
Yeah, and customer support actually comes up quite a bit, interestingly.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounds like we're ready to jump in then. Where does most of the feedback land?
Well, the overwhelming majority, a huge chunk, 88%, fall into the 5-star category.
Wow, 88%. That's a pretty strong signal.
It really is. The general feeling among that big group is just overwhelmingly positive.
So what were these super satisfied users pointing to? Like what specifically made them happy?
Two main things kept popping up. First, getting real targeted followers. And second, getting genuinely helpful human support.
Human support. Okay.
It seems like people really valued the authenticity they were seeing.
Right. Authenticity. And the sources had some specific examples, which helps bring it to life. Like TT Channel from the US, an early 2025 user.
Yeah, I saw that one.
They really praised the professionalism, the consistency of the person assigned to them, their growth assistant, mentioned seeing a steady amount of followers every day and said the communication was warm and welcoming. That human touch, it feels significant.
It really does. And
Yeah.
it wasn't just numbers. Mina Kay, she has a lifestyle blog.
Okay.
She saw incredible interaction on her posts.
Which points more to the quality of the followers, right? The relevance.
Exactly. Interaction is huge. Then there was Jacob G., also in the U.S. niche area, film photography.
Right, film photography.
Gained about 1,000 followers in 2 months, which sounds decent, but the detail that jumped out was he had real conversations with some of them.
Yeah, real conversations. That's pretty different from just getting a number increase.
Totally. Gaining followers is one thing, but actual dialogue, that feels rare compared to, the automated stuff.
It absolutely backs up that claim of attracting real, interested people. And Louise H., another user, she added some context.
Oh, yeah. What did she say?
She called it a grind.
Yeah.
Said, you still need good content yourself.
Okay, so it's not magic. Right. But the assistant handled the manual work. And she drew a clear line, saying it was way more legit than Kickstarter or those AI crap tools.
Ah, a direct comparison. Interesting.
Yeah. But she was also frank, said it wasn't cheap.
Right. So acknowledges the user's effort is still vital, but the service handles that manual outreach part. The BitBots can't really replicate well.
Exactly. And we saw similar things from others, Imran Y., Shannon V., Katie, AJ, all mentioning steady, authentic growth and good support.
And across all those positive ones, that phrase, no bots, no fake engagement, kept coming up.
Yeah, almost like a mantra. It really feels powerful, doesn't it?
It does. It suggests people are fed up with fake tactics, and this service, for them, delivered something real.
Precisely. Meeting a core need for genuine growth.
Okay, so that covers the overwhelmingly positive side. But obviously, and not everyone gave it 5 stars. What about the mixed reviews, like the 3-star ones?
Right. This is where the conversation tends to shift a bit, often towards cost versus how fast the results came. Expectations seem key here.
Expectations, okay.
So Irene C. from the UK, for instance, she described her experience as disappointing so far.
Disappointing, why?
She gained 287 followers over 2 months, and she actually calculated it, like roughly $1.44 per follower.
Ooh, putting a price tag on each one.
Yeah, and felt it was just slower than she expected for the investment.
Makes sense. Did she mention anything else? Anything positive?
Well, interestingly, yeah. Even Irene said the communication she got was courteous.
See, there's that support theme again, even when the growth rate wasn't thrilling her.
Exactly.
What about TXZ? Their review sounded a bit harsher.
Yeah, TXZ was more critical. Call it very expensive and slow. Felt the trial didn't show much impact, didn't like the upsell process.
Okay, so similar themes again, speed and cost.
Primarily, yes. But fascinatingly, even TXZ, despite being pretty critical,
Yeah.
admitted the company do communicate well.
Wow. So even in a negative review about the core service results, the communication gets a positive mention.
It seems that way. That human support interaction seems to be a consistent point, regardless of satisfaction level with growth speed or cost.
That really is telling. Okay, now let's look at the other end. The minority reports, the one-star reviews. What did the sources say about those?
Well, first off, they're pretty rare compared to the positive ones.
Okay.
We saw one example mentioned, Frederick from Norway, gave it 1 star, called it a scam, but linked it specifically to their YouTube strategy.
Ah, YouTube. Not Instagram growth directly.
Right, and the company actually replied to that review.
Oh, they did what they said.
They defended their reputation, mentioned being around since 2016, and clarified their YouTube stuff is meant to educate against scams, not be one.
Interesting. So engaging directly even with tough feedback.
Yeah, that direct response seemed consistent. We saw that mentioned elsewhere, too.
And this kind of highlights something maybe about these negative reviews. It feels like maybe they're often more about unmet expectations.
I think that's a fair assessment based on the sources, like people hoping for instant viral growth, maybe?
Right. But Ascend Viral explicitly says they don't do viral growth.
Exactly. So if you walk in expecting, to blow up overnight, this service just isn't designed for that. It's not the right fit.
So a mismatch between expectation and what the service actually promises and delivers.
Seems like it. If you want slow, steady, engaged growth, it seems aligned. If you want viral fame tomorrow, probably going to be disappointed.
Okay, let's circle back to customer support. Because, wow, it really does seem like a standout strength across the board, even in those less glowing reviews.
Absolutely. The feedback consistently calls their support responsive, empathetic, proactive.
Yeah.
And get this, they apparently respond to 100% of negative reviews.
100%.
Yep. Usually within 24 hours. That's pretty high engagement.
That really shows a commitment, doesn't it, to addressing issues head on?
Definitely. And users like Irene C. and Katie actually mentioned specific reps, like Ethan and Gabby,
Right.
who apparently offered refunds or looked into problems quickly when things weren't right.
So proactive problem solving, not just defending, but trying to fix it.
Exactly. It backs up that quote the sources mentioned. We'll do anything it takes to make you satisfied. That really seems to resonate with users, even if the growth wasn't perfect for them initially. It ties back to that human support thing.
Yeah, it feels like a core part of their identity based on these reviews. Okay, so let's try and synthesize this, pull it all together. What's the overall picture the sources paint of Ascend Viral? What's the main takeaway for someone considering them?
Well, the main conclusion seems to be that, yeah, Ascend Viral looks like it does deliver on that promise of ethical organic growth. But, and this is a big but, it absolutely requires patience. And, just as importantly, the user has to be putting out good quality content themselves. The service can't work miracles with bad content.
Right. The sources said it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, explicitly, and not for everyone.
Exactly. Think marathon, not a sprint, especially compared to those quick, bot-driven tools.
So if you want that personalized human approach aimed at building a real community over time, this seems positioned as, well, a potentially solid option, but you got to be ready for the slower pace.
That sums it up well. So the pros, based on users, real targeted followers, a dedicated human assistant, and really strong customer service. High response rate.
Okay. And the cons.
Yeah.
Mostly from the other reviews.
Yeah. Premium pricing, definitely. Results can vary, might be slower than some hope, and it's just not the right fit if you're chasing instant or viral growth.
Gotcha. Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up, what does all this user feedback mean for you, the listener, if you're trying to figure out Instagram growth and maybe looking at Ascend Viral?
It really seems to boil down to a fundamental question, doesn't it? Are you willing to pay more and be more patient for potentially more authentic, engaged followers via a human-driven service? Or is faster, maybe cheaper growth through automated or, let's say, less transparent methods more what you're after, even with the risk of fake followers or numbers that don't really mean much?
It really puts the spotlight on that tension, genuine connection versus just big numbers, community versus count. It forces you, I think, to get clear on what success on social media really looks like for your goals.